What's up, Brian Tong here, and welcome to the Apple Bits for everything good and bad inside the world of Apple. And we just got a whole bunch of details from iOS 14, iPadOS, watchOS 7, the Apple Watch Series 6, and more thanks to 9 to 5 Mac. So let's just jump right into it. And we've talked about the reports of an iPad smart keyboard with a trackpad coming this year, bringing new functionality to really one of my favorite Apple products, the iPad Pro. Well, now it's getting even more real after details from 9 to 5 Mac revealed that based on code they've seen, Apple will roll out system-wide support for mouse cursors with iOS 14. And we know that Apple brought basic external mouse compatibility that was buried in the accessibility settings for iOS 13, but with iOS and iPadOS 14, they're going to be bringing it to the forefront. So that means a lot of the mouse and cursor features that you're used to in macOS are finally coming to iOS. And I know a lot of you are thinking like, I do not want to see a mouse cursor on my iPad all the time, and you won't, because one of the features will have the mouse cursor disappear automatically after a few seconds of not using a connected mouse or a trackpad. So it's still the same touch device that it was before. It will also support multiple pointers like you're used to on a Mac. So let's say depending on what you're hovering over, it'll change from a standard arrow pointer to the pointing hand if you're hovering over links that can be clicked on. And since Catalyst has opened up iPads to be translated to the Mac, the apps could function similarly on both platforms. Now, there will also be Mac-like gesture support, like let's say tapping with 2 fingers for right-click on that trackpad. And after these revelations of the functionality from 9 to 5 Mac, the assumption here is that the smart keyboard trackpad will have a standard laptop-like trackpad. We saw that there's a tap-to-click setting that has been found in the code as well. So the trackpad will have either some sort of depression when you press on it or some kind of haptic feedback. We saw 2 new smart keyboard models that have been referenced in the code based on the report, meaning that multiple iPads will likely get this new functionality. Now, 9 to 5 Mac says they couldn't find information on the physical shape or specifications of the new accessories, but the code found implies a standard laptop design with a keyboard above and then the large trackpad below. Now, my guess is that they're making them for the 12.9 and 11-inch iPad Pros, and you know me, I have criticized the current iPad smart keyboards before. There is a reason that I've tried them every year and then returned them every year, because Apple's have felt exactly the same since day one with their dead rubber keys. They have little to no bounce, and there have been rumors that this year's smart keyboards could see the scissor switch keyboard mechanism that came back to the MacBook Pro 16-inch, which made a whole world of difference, and then a possibility of them being backlit as well. Now, if the trackpad and those 2 features come in 2020, it's going to be a whole lot more expensive than just $199 for the 12.9-inch smart keyboard or $179 for the 11-inch one. And then this perfectly opens things up for a smart keyboard Pro tier for those who want it. And you know that's what they're going to name it. And if that's the case, I'm going to guess maybe $299 and $249 for the price points, because you have to go higher when you add the name Pro to anything. But hey, let's go back to 2012. Okay, Tim Cook, he threw out his opinion of tablet laptop hybrids, specifically firing shots at the Surface Pro when asked about it. And he said, you can converge a toaster and a refrigerator, but those things are probably not going to be pleasing to the user. You know what, Tim? I've always wanted a refrigerator toaster, and now it looks like Apple does too, like 8+ years later. 8 freaking years? That's just a sad Apple. But you know what? I'm still very happy it's happening, and it's been a long time coming. And you know what? That is the power of the ecosystem. And I've said it before, but it can honestly sometimes be like this crappy relationship with Apple at times, because you are committed to them, but you also want them to give you something, like show you something for years on years that you know they can do. And it feels like it never happens, and then it finally does, and then you're happy all over again. Man, did that just get too real? Because Apple might be the most abusive relationship in tech. I'm kidding, all right? Kind of. All right, we're really in a happy place right now, so let's continue with that. And there's more details from iOS 14 that have spilled out from 9 to 5 Mac. They found in the code that Apple will add the ability for the Apple Watch to detect blood oxygen levels for the first time, along with other changes in the Apple Series 6 and watchOS 7. Now, blood oxygen levels between 95 to 100% are healthy. Levels below 80% could lead to health issues with the risk of respiratory or cardiac arrest. So it's unclear if it will require new hardware that might be found only in the new Series 6, or if it could come to all and newer Apple Watch models with the watchOS 7 as a software update. But this is just another huge step that Apple's making to evolve the Apple Watch as the best smartwatch for health tracking at the consumer level. I even did this in-depth episode about it on my Apple Bits XL podcast. It's worth checking out with our friend Doc Knock, and you'll learn a whole lot about it. But there's even more. We've pretty much assumed that sleep tracking was finally coming to the Apple Watch after Apple themselves accidentally leaked mentions of a sleep app last year in a screenshot on the App Store. Whoops! Now, references were found to Apple sleep tracking as far back as the iOS 13 beta, but it never made it to the final release. Well, new information reveals a user will be able to set a personalized sleep goal in the Health app in watchOS 7, and then the app will include recommendations for improving sleep duration and quality, like stop staring at your blue screen for 2 hours instead of turning it off and just go to sleep. Unless you're watching my videos, then you can watch as many as you can. But all the hardware is already on the current batch of Apple Watches. We just don't know how far back the support for sleep tracking will go. My hunch is that it should absolutely go back at least as far as the Series 4, but arguably could support the Series 1 that had heart rate tracking as well. Now, Apple's doing new things with watch faces. A new feature will let you share your watch faces between users, where each watch face is treated like a unique file depending on what color and complications you set up for it on your own. So now, I thought about this, the person who already bites off your style and buys the same clothes after you do and then shows up to school with them but then pretends like they don't, they're going to be biting your Apple Watch face style as well. Congrats. You're cool. Now, there's still no indication that Apple will finally open up third-party watch face support because they're still control freaks, but this could be a stepping stone in that direction. We also have a new watch face that will add a tachometer to it. It's normally found on analog watches, and hardcore watch lovers, they're going to love this because it measures your speed and distance based on your time traveled over a fixed distance. The watch face that has the tachometer will be called Infograph Pro, because of course it would be called that. Now, Apple Watch already lets you use individual photos or groups of photos from an album as a watch face, but 9to5Mac found in the iOS 14 code that in watchOS 7, you'll be able to use a shared album, like a shared family album that other family members can use as an option for a watch face. So that's kind of cute and cuddly. Also, they're working on an Apple Watch for Kids mode, but it's not certain if this mode makes the cut in watchOS 7 just yet. Right now, you can use multiple watches with a single iPhone, but only one watch can pair at one time, and they all have to be associated to the same Apple account. Well, this new feature would allow a parent to set up an Apple Watch for a kid without needing a second iPhone for them, while also giving them parental controls and managing contacts and music. There's rumored to be a school time feature that will let parents control what apps can be used during class hours. Makes sense. And the Control Center may get a few new toggles added, including sleep and noise detection. We also have standalone apps that don't rely on the iPhone. That came along with the Watch App Store in watchOS 6, but apps were still based off their earlier extension architecture. That won't be the case in watchOS 7 anymore. And then finally, when we talk about all these leaks, we have the best sneak peek leak. That's what I'm gonna call it. A sneak peek leak from this treasure trove of info. Now here you're gonna see light and dark icons of what's believed to be Apple's over-the-ear headphones that have been discovered by 9to5Mac, and they give us really the best idea of what they will look like. You can see the distinction between the actual headphone cup and the padding on it, as well as the padding on the top of the headband. We can't really tell if the cups will be rounded or even rectangular with rounded edges, but they'll be as minimalistic as these icons are likely that are used to represent them throughout the operating system. Now, we expect them to be a lot like AirPods Pro, but over-the-ear version, so they'll include active noise canceling and a transparency mode to hear what's going around you. Obviously, the H1 chip, that'll be the brains inside of it. That brings hands-free Siri. And we don't know what the touch controls will be like, but the icon shows no buttons whatsoever, so we assume that they will be touch, or also, how will they charge? Is it going to be over USB-C, or even wirelessly, or will they still stick with Lightning? And we've heard about the Apple over-the-ear headphones for about 2 years now. Ming-Chi Kuo in the past had claimed that we would finally see them in 2020, but I'm actually excited about them because Apple has absolutely been killing it with their audio products division. It's kind of a sleeper thing they've been doing, right? We have the AirPods Pro, even the overpriced HomePod. It sounds amazing, even if it still doesn't do enough. but there's still a lot of questions here about the over-the-air headphones, but this is absolutely the best look of what they're going to look like, and they could retail for $399 if the Target leaks from a few weeks ago are correct as well. So there you go, just a whole lot of info and tidbits that we just dropped on you here. But I want to know, what do you think between the iPadOS improvements, smart keyboard with trackpad, the new changes for the Apple Watch, or the over-the-ear Apple headphones? Which one of these are you the most excited about? Because, hey, maybe it's all of them, but put in the comments, because you know I read them all, and so does my mom, so she always likes it when you say nice things. I'm just saying. All right, that's going to do it for now. If you like this video, give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my videos when they drop. And if you really want more of that Apple goodness, I talked about it earlier, check out my weekly Apple Bits XL audio podcast, where we just go for an even deeper dive into these stories and more with special guests. Plus, you can support all my independent content, the podcast, all my videos at patreon.com/BrianTong, and I would be so grateful for your support. So thanks so much for watching. Take care, everybody. A whole bunch of stuff coming March. Definitely coming this year. We'll talk to you soon, all right? Take care. Peace.